This is the all-new KDE Plasma 6. We are gearing up for a brand new major version of KDE Plasma, and it comes with many new changes, improvements and some cool new things. Plasma Desktop is jumping from version 5 to 6, and this time we are seeing a big change in the design language, a futuristic redesign of desktop elements and many new features. I've been playing with KDE Plasma for some time now and I've thoroughly enjoyed using the new desktop. It looks fresh but offers the same great old experience that Plasma users fell in love with. So without further ado, let's jump right in and crack this countdown of 12 things new in KDE Plasma 6. KDE Plasma 6 is bringing a big design overhaul to a core component of the desktop. The bottom panel is now a floating panel instead of an edge-to-edge panel. This elevates the way this desktop looks. KDE Plasma has always had an edge-to-edge main panel, and the decision to go with a floating panel means that Plasma will now be breaking away from the traditional look and embraces a more futuristic look. This panel is a glimpse into a new direction that KDE Plasma is headed. This is an upgrade with smooth curves and slight padding from the screen edges. I really like this. While I love floating panels, they do tend to harm the desktop look when there are full screen applications. Many user interfaces handle this by hiding the floating panel when there is a full screen application. GNOME does it, Pantheon Desktop does it. But Plasma developers have chosen a different route altogether. When you maximize an application, the floating panel seamlessly translates into an edge-to-edge panel. You don't even notice it. The transition happens in that small time when the window maximizing animation is taking place. I must say, this is work done well. By hiding the panel, KDE Plasma would have lost its original workflow. This is simply better. The floating panel also translates over when you move a window close to it. I'm always very critical about user interface changes, but I love this. The change is so elegant. You use KDE Plasma absolutely the same way, but you're gonna go wow every time you look at this desktop now. It's not just the bottom panel. Even the menu, tray elements, quick controls and calendar have received slight retouches. Now, there is a small gap between the floating panel and the popped up elements. This goes very nicely with the new floating panel. The popped up elements also get a subtle border radius that makes everything look very polished and nice. This small yet effective redesign adds a touch of aesthetic appeal. The floating panel plus these new elements might not be obvious to the eye. They might mostly feel like small changes, but they take the design language of KDE Plasma to a very different domain. Now we are talking about the graphical user interface, but the real power of Linux lies in the command line interface or the terminal. Having a good knowledge of Linux commands and being comfortable using the terminal really broadens what you can do with Linux and what kind of experience you are going to get here. So if you're interested in leveling up your Linux game, definitely check out my course Linux Mastery Express, which is the fastest way to learn Linux and start using Linux like a pro. I'll teach you a set of commands that will give you the confidence to use Linux without even a graphical user interface. Then we'll dive deep and learn how to use the V-editor and master shell scripting with real-life examples. After teaching more than 100 students in person, I've curated this course with the top things that will level up your Linux skills the fastest. So if you're feeling like your Linux game is stuck in the same spot for too long and you're ready to take your Linux skills to the next level quickly, check out the link in the description below and get your Linux Mastery Express. We are running a massive 45% discount right now, so make use of it. Plasma 6 will come with Wayland display server as the default. X11 is still available as an option if you want to use that, but Wayland will be the default. For the uninitiated, Wayland and X11 are display servers. They basically manage everything that you see on the screen. X11 is the older one and Wayland is the newer one, which is succeeding X11. Wayland is known for its modern architecture. It offers enhanced security, improved performance, and a smoother graphical experience. This is in alignment with the KDE principle of providing an efficient and modern desktop experience. I think that this is a very bold statement. I'll not get into the debate of whether Wayland is fully ready or not, but I know it will never be ready if we keep using X11. Once everybody jumps into the Wayland ship, things are going to get sorted out quicker. Fedora 40 will even completely drop support for X11 on its KDE Plasma version. So yeah, we have big news. Now the funny thing is, I have Nvidia hardware and Wayland doesn't play 100% fine with Nvidia hardware. For example, screen recording can get a little bit wonky, which is kinda my bread and butter. Then, gaming on Wayland uses a translation layer called X-Wayland, which does add a small overhead to the performance. So while it's cool that they have switched to Wayland, which is the way forward into the future, the idea of keeping X11 as an option should be considered by distros. KDE Plasma 6 and the entire KDE stack is built using the Qt framework version 6 or just Qt6, which is the latest at the moment. Qt6 is a huge deal because it brings many new things on the technical forefront. It utilizes C++ 17 standards, brings a new graphical architecture with support for more rendering techniques, introduces CMake as the primary build system which many developers already use and are familiar with. It uses the next generation QML and it has many more advancements. Basically, Qt provides the Lego blocks that are used to build KDE Plasma, and Qt6 provides the technological blocks that can be leveraged to build the next generation of user interfaces. Discover. Plasma's software store now comes with improved Flatpak support out of the box. Discover now makes it easy to seamlessly handle Flatpaks here. It now makes it easier to browse, search, install and manage Flatpak applications along with full native packages here. This is a very important update as Flatpaks and unified packages in general are catching on, and I think they are going to have a bigger part in the lives of Linux users. Now, you can install and use Flatpaks and snaps on most Linux distros. It's time distro makers provide better integration for these. I mean, when they are building distros, they should keep in mind that the user is going to use these unified packages and take actions to make it more seamless. The task switcher that pops up when you press Alt plus Tab now gets a huge makeover. Now instead of the vertical switcher panel that we had, we get a switcher in the center of the screen. We see the screenshot of the window itself, a big icon of the application and the application window. This might look like a change, but it's an improvement actually. I think this is going to be easier for our brains to distinguish between application windows. I have a massive multi-window workflow. I'm editing a video, I have multiple file managers open, I have browser windows, the text editor, notes app, and juggling between all these can be very tiresome, especially when I'm in that productivity zone. The new task switcher aims to make this switching more effortless. Seriously, this should have been changed ages ago. KDE Plasma is complicated as it is. On top of that, you open the file manager and the directories here open with a single click. Not double click, but a single click. You know how weird that feels? I still remember learning to open folders with a double click when I was a kid, and that's how it has been ever since. But when I came to KDE Plasma, it wants to hurt my brain. This has been finally corrected. To make things easier for Windows users, the default behavior has been changed to double click to open directories instead of a single click. Thank you, KDE developers. I'm curious about what you'll innovate next. By the way, if you're a long-time Plasma user and have caught the disease of using a single click, you can change back to that. KRunner, Plasma's quick search and launcher functionality that you can launch by pressing Alt plus spacebar gets updated to be even more useful. Firstly, the results that you get when you search for stuff here can now be organized or sorted using custom options. This is great as it will allow the users to finely tailor how they want to see the information they request, whether it's files, web searches or even applications. This customization allows you to get to what you want quickly. This is just going to be more intuitive. Then, KRunner can now convert time from different time zones. While this is a very niche feature to have, not everybody is going to need this, but for those of us that are going to need this, it's actually very handy to have. I have classes scheduled for international students and I actually always have to Google the time in their time zones. For people like me, this is going to be simply better now on. This is a big one. KDE Plasma adds preliminary support for HDR. HDR stands for High Dynamic Range, and this makes the picture look vastly more vivid and realistic. To try this out, you need a monitor that supports HDR, and this works on Plasma 6 only on Wayland. Now this is just the initial support for HDR and it's not complete yet. Actually, it's very far from being complete. Right now, this only works on certain games that support HDR, and it doesn't work on all HDR monitors as well. So yeah, this feature still needs a lot of time to be available for everyone, but now you know it's coming. I'm a big fan of HDR. I like how immersive and colorful it all looks. Did you know that 1 in 12 men suffer from color blindness? KDE Plasma 6 brings filters to help people having some form of color blindness see better. Now there are filters provided here for all 3 forms of color blindness. You can activate these by opening the settings and going into desktop effects. You can directly search desktop effects in this search bar and then enable color blindness correction. Select your type and then apply the settings. This is a great accessibility feature to have. Seeing how common color blindness is, I think this one feature is going to be very useful for a lot of people. Plasma 6 brings a new sound theme now. Actually, it brings this new concept of sound themes here. What's a sound theme, you ask? It's a pack of default sounds for various things like dialog pop-up, warnings, low battery and other system events. Now we get to choose between 3 packs: Ocean, Oxygen and Free Desktop. Oxygen was the default till last version, that is Plasma 5.27. But now Ocean is the default. I really like this. It has soft, calm sounds. You can preview the sounds by clicking on these icons and select whichever you like. By the way, you can find it in colors and theme section of the settings and not the sound section. Just be mindful here. I don't want you wandering here and there. Plasma settings are already overwhelming as it is. Plasma 6 comes with Islamic Calendar support pre-built into. Now, you don't need to install third-party applications or plugins for this. To enable this, click on the settings icon in the calendar widget. Under Calendar tab, enable alternate calendar option, and from this tab, you can enable different calendars including 3 new Islamic calendar options. Once you enable it here, you can see another calendar added to your calendar widget and you can get more information by hovering the mouse on dates. There you have it, people. Your first look of the new KDE Plasma 6 and an in-depth account of everything new it brings. Apart from all the new things that we talked about, Plasma 6 also brings core improvements that enhance the performance and stability of the desktop environment. Plasma has also taken a slightly different road in what kind of experience it wants to provide its users with. This is a major update that's going to set the trend moving forward. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you found this video useful, definitely consider subscribing to the channel and leave me a big thumbs up. Remember, you saw it first on Linux Techs. And if you're interested in leveling up your Linux skills, the link to my course Linux Mastery Express is given in the description below. It's designed to teach you Linux and take you from zero to hero within the shortest amount of time possible. You'll be using Linux like a pro within a matter of hours, so definitely check that out. Next up, check out this fantastic distro called LMDE. It's taking the Linux world by storm and it's unlike anything you have seen it, so absolutely don't miss that. Alright, this is Linux Techs signing out.